Okay, wrap up and homework. So we talked today about two things, financial stuff and phone. Your homework on the financial side is to figure out what kind of fees you're going to be paying if you stay with your current bank and are withdrawing money abroad. It gets expensive. Like I said, I had $90 in ATM fees, like international transfer fees and ATM charges when I was in Buenos Aires, and because I had the Schwab card, they just refund it all. So check what the policy is there. Encourage the Charles Schwab debit card for that. And then on the credit card side, if you can get the Chase Sapphire card, that's the best one I've found. But have something where you're actually earning points, and ideally you'll never pay for another flight again while you're on the program. Okay, so that's the financial stuff. Homework for the phone is to research your current phone provider, see what they do as far as international roaming, what that would cost you to stay with them. Again, I use T-Mobile, and it works really great everywhere I was. Local SIM cards, if you want to be able to use a local SIM, make sure that they unlock the phone that you have, and you can demand that they do so. I will link to that legislation. And then just redundancy. Always think, if you can afford it, get a backup phone. It's a good idea. Just to have other options, and then other call methods, being able to call through your laptop, whether that's using Hangouts or Skype or whatever, right? So that concludes today. Now, like I said, this is the last day of the free course. So if you hopefully you choose to go on, hopefully you've seen the value of the information that I'm giving you here. If it saves you, 1 hour of your time, depending on what you bill at, it should be a no-brainer to continue this course. But if you don't, no problem. Hopefully that this stuff was valuable, and again, you can continue to use the checklist no matter what. That's my gift to you. You can continue to read the forums and whatnot. I do emphasize, I prioritize my time in the paid forums, so obviously those students that are paying for this, that's where I spend most of my time, but feel free to continue asking questions in the forums if you still have questions, and it's been great chatting with you. For the people that are continuing on, if you want to do the rest of the course, basically when you mark this complete, it's going to present you with the option to put in your credit card, and you'll just pay on that page, and then that will right away unlock day 5. And although it treats it as a separate course, this is one course, day 1 through 14, but it's broken. The first one is free, and then the second one is paid, so I had to break it up like that. But it will dump you into basically day 5, and you'll have access to that immediately. So stuff we're going to be covering. Let's just quickly go through what is to come. So tomorrow we're talking about gear purchases. I'm going to give you my recommendations on stuff. And I'm a minimalist. I don't like stuff, but the stuff that I do buy, I buy good quality stuff. And so I will give you just straight up, what I pack. I travel light. I bring just a hiking pack is all I bring. I know originally I started out the program with that hiking pack and then a huge Samsonite hard case suitcase, and I ended up ditching that. It's just too much stuff, and you pay extra baggage fees. So anyways, I will tomorrow take you through all the gear that I recommend. I'll give you links to everything, where to buy it and all that. Then we have 2 days devoted to InfoSec, so information security, how to harden your security posture. So things like backups, privacy, security, just good practices, good security practices. So I allocated 2 full days to this because my assumption is you're a knowledge worker and that this is your lifeline. Like, you need to make money on the road, and you likely rely on your laptop and your mobile devices. So I'm going to show you pretty much everything you need to know. We're going to walk through how to set everything up. That's going to be a pretty involved 2 days there. So we'll show you all that stuff. Then we're going to go dig into mobile apps. There's a whole day devoted to the various mobile apps you can use, so things that save you money on travel, that save you time, help you navigate places, help you find deals on like lodging, hotels, whatnot, where to go, local recommendations, all that stuff. I'm going to show you the best apps for those. I use iOS, right? So I'm assuming that you have, or not assuming, but like I have an iPhone. I don't have an Android, but most of these apps have either native, a native Android implementation or an equivalent that runs on Android. So, but I will be taking you through the iPhone usage here and show you some other cool hacks like offline Google Maps. Using like geo-based reminders is a really useful thing anytime you're on transit and you need to know where to get off. So I'll show you some cool tricks there. Day 9, we're going to go into, I'm actually going to focus on specific activities and culture and traditions of remote year. Now, granted, this is a program, this is specific to that program, but there's going to be a lot of tips there that are valuable outside of that, regardless of what program you choose there. It's good to see how they operate, and there's going to be a ton of good stuff in that one. Day 10, we talk about memories preservation, which is a fancy way of saying how are you going to basically document your year. Like, what are your goals, and then does it make sense to use Instagram? Does it make sense to use Snapchat, or 1 second a day, the app that Kelly's video used? So there's a lot of options there. Journaling, good old-fashioned journaling. I kept a journal all year, and it was great. So we'll go over those options on day 10. Day 11, we're dedicating that to wellness and personal safety. All right, so how to stay healthy, how to stay fit, exercising on the road, what's involved there, and then half that day is going to be allocated to safety, personal safety, self-defense. I'm going to give you a primer on like situational awareness and some basics in terms of self-defense. And it's an art called Krav Maga. I highly recommend, if you're interested in self-defense, that is what I've tried a bunch. That is what I recommend. It's the most practical form of self-defense, and you don't have to even be crazy. Like, just knowing the basics. This is one of these things where it's like diminishing returns. It's a minute to learn some stuff, and then a lifetime to master the rest of it. But it's worth the minute to learn the basics. And this will basically do an abbreviated version of a course that I gave for our crew when we went to Morocco. So that's day 11. Day 12, we're going to talk about the art of side trips. So how to plan and execute side trips. There is a whole art to that, and how to save money in doing that. Day 13, we're looking at some of the kind of softer skills. So acquiring the local language, integrating with the culture, dealing with group dynamics in whatever program you're with, right? So just kind of a lot of softer skills. Day 14, so the last day of the course is like a one big wrap up. I'm going to give you some pro tips. We're going to talk about taxes that day. So you've heard me a couple times now reference the FEIE. This is something I can't believe they didn't tell us about. It ended up, fortunately I learned about it, and it ended up paying for my entire year. So this is a really important one, and it's good to know, it's good to start preparing from the start. You can do things that actually improve your chances of qualifying for the FEIE if you do things right from the start. So we'll talk about that on day 14, some productivity hacks, and we'll talk about access to the monthly calls that I'm going to do with people, the Zoom calls, and wrap up, and that'll be it, right? So again, if you want to continue, we'll mark this complete on the next page, add your credit card. Hopefully the price tag here, and when you look at the grand scheme of things and what I can save you and how much time I can save you, and rule out any mistakes in all the preparation that you're doing, this should be a no-brainer. And just so you know, there's costs associated with hosting these videos and the site and everything. So nobody's getting rich off of this, I promise you. But I encourage you to continue the course, and I hope to see you tomorrow. All right? Cheers.